Hey everybody, welcome to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, and here on my YouTube channel and in this video I'm going to share with you 3 tips to get pro sounding mixes using headphones in your home studio. So 3 tips to using headphones to get professional sounding mixes. We're going to talk about that in this video. Before we get to that though, if you like what you see in this video, hit that subscribe button, also hit the notification bell. Also go out to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and get your 5 free mixing training courses. Again, that's 5 free mixing training courses worth about $110. It's my gift to you for visiting HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. And if you really want to start to learn the craft of mixing and you want to get better at mixing music in your home studio, check out what I have going on at mixingmadeeasy.net. It's a membership mixing website. You'll really dig it. mixingmadeeasy.net. Now, let's talk about headphones. So, why would you want to mix on headphones? Well, before we get to why you want to mix on them and what some benefits are, one of the things that comes up with my students a lot when I listen to a lot of their mixes is that they have a lot of issues with their mixing environment, meaning they don't have the proper setup in the proper room to really hear accurately what's coming out of their studio monitors, and therefore they're not making good EQ and compression decisions and balancing and panning decisions, and ultimately their mix doesn't translate. So a lot of what I get questions on is, why doesn't my mix translate? It sounds great in my room, I dial it in and then I bring it outside my room into another listening environment. It just doesn't sound right. The low end's way off, the top end's way off, so on and so forth. Well, the number one reason for that is because of the environment, the room that you're mixing in. Now, in an ideal world, we'd all have really fine-tuned control rooms and mixing environments like a professional studio, but most of us that have home studios don't have the benefit of that. So what do you have to have in order to be able to mix inside of your room with monitors to get a mix that translates? Well, first and foremost, the room itself has a lot to do with whether or not you're going to have a mix that translates. What's the shape of the room? How big is the room? Depth-wise, how wide is the room? Okay, where is your mixing station placed in that room? Is it in a corner because that's all you can fit into that room? Is it up against a wall? Is it towards the center of the room? All of those things are going to make a world of difference on how your mixes are going to translate or not translate. The other issue that a lot of home studio enthusiasts have problems with is they don't acoustically treat their room. Now, there's tons of videos on YouTube on how to acoustically treat your room. I even have 2 or 3 videos on this YouTube channel on how to acoustically treat your room. But for a lot of people, acoustically treating a room may not be an option for a variety of reasons. One, it can just be simply maybe it's a room or it's a house or a condominium that they rent and they don't have the ability to go ahead and permanently hang treatment on the walls. They don't want to have a bunch of screw holes and nail holes in their wall, so they can't really do that. Or the room is so small that any acoustic treatment you kind of put in there, it even makes the room feel even smaller, and it's more of a claustrophobic thing if you have big bass traps and foam all over the place. And lastly too, it's also could just be a budgetary reason. You know, acoustic treatment can be very inexpensive if you want to build the stuff yourself, but if you want to purchase stuff, it could start to get expensive. It could be several hundreds of dollars to acoustically treat your space so you have a good, accurate listening environment to do your mixes. So acoustic treatment's always a problem. Also, you have to have a decent set of studio monitors as well. And again, a decent set of monitors can run anywhere from $500 to $600 a pair, up to thousands of dollars a pair. And again, it may just not be practical for a lot of folks that have a home studio because for budget reasons, they don't have the budget to spend that kind of money. So what is the solution? Well, the way that you can work around all of that stuff, the room, the lack of acoustic treatment, and or the studio monitors, is to mix with headphones. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to do that. But let's talk about some benefits. What are the benefits of mixing with headphones? So let's talk about like 4 or 5 benefits to mixing with headphones, and then we'll get on to our pro tips. So let's talk about benefit number 1. Okay, benefit number 1 is quite simple. The room doesn't matter. When you're mixing with headphones, it takes the whole room, the lack of acoustic treatment, the lack of good studio monitors, the shape of the room, the placement of your desk in the room, all of that goes away when you mix through headphones. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. No matter what room you're mixing in, whether you're moving your studio from one place to another, it's never going to change. You never have to worry about it. It takes the room out of the mix completely. Benefit number 2 is that your mixes will always be consistent no matter where you're mixing, whether you're mixing on the road, whether you're mixing in a hotel room, whether you're mixing in your home studio, whether you're mixing in your living room at a bandmate's house, doesn't matter. When you're mixing on headphones, again, no matter where you are, it's always going to be consistent. So once you learn your headphones, regardless of where you're mixing, it's going to be consistent. Benefit number three is that with headphones, a lot of times you can hear the subtleties of your mix a lot more easily than you can even with good studio monitors in a well-treated room. Because the headphones are on your head and close to your ears, you can have a much easier time hearing those little subtleties. And it's great. I check my mixes on headphones all the time because I want to be able to hear some of the subtleties that maybe I'm not quite picking up in my studio monitors or in my acoustically treated room. So hearing the subtleties in your mix is another benefit to mixing with headphones. Okay, benefit number four is another big one for a lot of us home studio owners, and that is they're more affordable. Headphones, even good pair of headphones, are typically more affordable than a good pair of studio monitors, and also on top of which the acoustic treatment. So even if you spend, say, $500 or $600 on a pair of studio monitors and a few $100s worth of acoustic treatment, you can be easily pushing $1,000 or more, where you can get a really good set of headphones for $500 to $600, and you can even mix on headphones that are even less expensive than that. So affordability is also a huge benefit to mixing with headphones. And the last benefit number five, is that they're portable, right? So you can go anywhere with them. You can mix in your home, mix on the road, doesn't matter. You don't have to drag a pair of studio monitors and a portable acoustic treatment. No matter where you mix, if you're going from one studio to another, mixing on headphones is nice because they're so portable. You take them, you throw them in your laptop bag, and you're off to go. So benefit number five is portability. Now that we've talked about the five benefits, let me give you 3 tips or 4 tips to how you can get great mixes with your headphones, things to keep in mind if you're going to go down the road of mixing with headphones. So let's talk about tip number 1. Okay, tip number 1 to getting great mixes with using headphones is use a dedicated set of headphones. In other words, get yourself a good pair of headphones. And again, we'll talk about some of those in a second. And typically, if you're going to do a lot of mixing and mastering work, you want to look for maybe an open back set of headphones as opposed to closed back. If you're doing tracking and recording, closed back is better for that because you don't get the leakage into the microphone. But for mixing, you want to try to get open back headphones because you're going to get a lot more accurate and defined low end. Closed back headphones typically are not going to be as accurate in the low ends. Now, there are some exceptions to that, but in general terms, look for a good set of open back headphones and dedicate those headphones just for mixing. Don't change them. Get yourself a good set of headphones, learn those headphones, and then always use those. And over time, what you're going to find is that things are going to be a lot more consistent. You're going to understand those headphones. Now, what headphones should you get and how much should you spend? Again, that's all really a personal preference. I can tell you that for me personally, I mixed for years on a set of KRK. I think they're K&S 8400 Pros. I'll put an image up on the screen, and I'll put some links in the description box as well. I think those ran me about $150 at sweetwater.com. Great set of headphones. Made for that. No, those were a closed back set of headphones, and those I mixed on those for years. So that's a good set. And again, KRK also makes open back headphones as well. And then I moved to a set of Focal. I think they were called Focal Pro Spirits. Those ran about $400. Again, that was a closed back headphone as well, but Focal made that specific headphone for mixing to be a closed back. So in the design of the headphone, it was a closed back, but they did a lot of things to make it so it had a much more accurate low end than a lower end set of headphones. And finally, I've recently picked up Sennheiser HD700s, which are an open back set of headphones. Those run about $600, and those are a step up from the Focals, and they sound great as well. So I guess regardless of the headphones that you choose a headphone that is made for mixing. Again, go to a website like sweetwater.com, and again, I'll leave the links in the description box, and they have a whole host of headphones from all these different companies. And if you're not sure, go on YouTube and do some research and see what people recommend. As I said, the KRK headphones are really good. The Focals I used are really good, and I'm really loving the Sennheiser headphoins. Again, so those are 3 price points for you. But you can also call sweetwater.com, talk to a sales engineer there, tell them what you're looking to do, give them your budget, and they will point you in the right direction. So tip number 1 is use a dedicated set of headphones for mixing. Try to get an open back set of headphones if you can. That's going to be a little bit more better suited for mixing, and work with those and really get a chance to learn them. So let's now move on over to tip number 2. Okay, tip number 2 is to use lots of reference tracks when you're doing mixing, and or just listen to a lot of music on your headphones. So when you first start out with using headphones, not only should you be using them to mix to get used to the way they sound, but you also want to do a lot of listening to commercially released tracks so you can get a feel for how a professionally mixed and mastered song sounds on your headphones, and listen to different genres. If, rock, pop, dance, blues, whatever kind of music you're into, or different styles of music, listen to a lot of commercially released music on these headphones, and you'll be able to learn them quite easily. And how does the low end sound on certain types of genres of music? How does the mid-range sound? How does the high end sound? Get a feel for and listen to that music, not as a fan and as for music, for listening pleasure, but more as a techie, more like an engineer. Really focus in on the different instruments so you can hear what a professionally released track sounds like on your headphones and listen to a ton of music. Also then use reference tracks while you're mixing. If you're mixing a country song, then get some popular country reference tracks. There are lots of plugins that you can use for reference tracks, and I've done some reviews on my YouTube channel for that. And again, compare your mix to the commercially released track. Again, this is all in the effort for you to get your ear tuned to how your headphones respond to commercially released music. So tip number 2 is use reference tracks, listen to lots of commercial music on your headphones, and you will easily and very quickly be able to discern how your headphones sound, and it'll help you in your mixing projects. Okay, tip number 3 is something that I talk about an awful lot, and it gets overlooked, and that is to mix at low volumes. When you're wearing headphones and they're right on your ears, it's really important that you don't crank up the volume too much for any length of time. Your ears are going to get a lot more fatigued a lot more quickly when you're using headphones as opposed to studio monitors, and then that's going to do a bunch of stuff to where your ears are going to start to compress, the eardrums are going to protect themselves, and then you're going to lose perception of the low end and the high end, mostly the high end. So mix at low volumes. How low should you be mixing? Well, if you're using an open back set of headphones and you're sitting in, let's say, in front of a keyboard in your computer, you should be listening to that music, and you should be able to type on a keyboard and hear the little clacks of the keys. You should be able to listen to those headphones while you're mixing at a comfortable volume, where if someone is sitting next to you, you can talk to that person and you can hear yourself talking and can hear what the other person's saying to you. You shouldn't have to scream at the person, and they shouldn't have to scream back. If that's the case, you're mixing it too high of a volume. Now, I talk about this a lot even when you're mixing on studio monitors, but this is even more critical when you're using headphones because the speakers are right up against your ears. So mixing at low volumes is going to help you be able to mix for longer periods of time, and again, it's going to help your ears not get fatigued, and you're going to be able to mix longer, and you're going to make better judgments with your EQ, especially if you're mixing at low volumes. Okay, and our last tip here, tip number 4, our bonus tip of the video, is you can also use some software plugins to help correct or help better flatten the frequency response of your headphones. So the one that I recommend, and there are a few that are out there, but I love SonarWorks' reference for headphone plugin. I believe it's somewhere around $79 or $89 US, where you put this plugin, and I'll put an image of it up on the screen here, where you put the plugin as the last plugin on the chain of your master bus, and it has a bunch of profiles, and each one of the sound profiles is for a specific brand of headphones. So for example, as I said, I have the Sennheiser HD700 headphones. Well, they have a profile for those particular headphones where it'll actually help flatten out the response, so you're even getting a more flat response in your ears to make better EQ and compression decisions. And again, it's a wonderful plugin to use, and you can it'll work for, I think, hundreds of different styles of headphones. You can check out their website. I think you can even demo the plugin for free for 30 days. And if your particular brand of headphones doesn't show up in their headphone profile list, you can also send them, SonarWorks, your headphones, and they will make a calibration profile specific to your set of headphones. And I think it's very affordable. I think it's like $100 or so, but check their website for current pricing. So you can send them your headphones. They will make a calibration profile, send you back your headphones with the file. You load it up into your DAW, and now your headphones are going to have a completely, or pretty darn close to a complete flat response, which is the ideal situation for mixing and mastering especially. So using a software tool like SonarWorks is going to be another great help for you. Okay, that's it for this video. So those are 4 pro tips on how you can get professional sounding mixes using headphones. Again, try it out for yourself. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. But again, go check out different brands of headphones, and don't worry about the room acoustics, don't worry about the monitors, and that's going to help you. And the old wise tale that says you can't get a professional sounding mix on headphones, it's just obviously it's just not the case. I mix on headphones all the time. 99% of what I do in my studio today, especially with all my tutorials and all that stuff, you see me wearing headphones because because I can't do those in studio monitors because the sound will bleed into the vocal microphone. So I'm constantly mixing on headphones. And if you have a good set of headphones, and it's a good investment, if you could spend a little money, if you could spend $300, $400, $500 and get a good set that'll last you a lifetime. And again, you'll really enjoy mixing there, and and the most importantly is you'll be able to get your mixes to translate what sounds good in your headphones and the way it sounds in your studio. It will translate very, very well outside of your studios because you take the room and all the acoustic treatment or lack thereof out of the mix. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, get your 5 free mixing training courses. And if you want to learn more about mixing and talk about mixing and learn mixing and work with a bunch of like-minded engineers learning the craft of mixing, go over to mixingmadeeasy.net. And until the next video, I've been Dave with homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and I will see you all very soon. Take care.